Hello and welcome to episode 49.
49.
49, we've made it. We're almost at that half a mile. Well, no, it's a milestone. It's like the big
Yeah,
milestone.
it's a definite milestone. It's half century. Yeah, definite
There you
milestone.
go. To Wrong End of the Stick podcast with me, Zaki, and Jonathan Nimmo.
Hello.
We've got some more meatier stuff, I think, to
We've
be
got a
getting
lot
on
to get
with.
through, actually. It's strange how what can happen in 2 weeks. We take a week off and then cricket news
It
just
blows
goes
up.
absolutely mental. So yeah, we've got all kinds of world cricket updates and what's happening. As I say, world cricket updates. It's almost exclusively England cricket updates and what's happening. And test matches that are upcoming, who's involved, who's not, where the highlights are going to be, all that kind of jazz. And then a couple of bits about the World Test 11 that was voted for on the BBC website that has been announced. A game of cricket that's actually being played in the UK, which is fun and exciting to talk about. And then, of course, we've got to play that game and Seamingly Stumped, our usual features where we review a game, an app of a cricket game, and Seemingly Stumped, where we test each other's knowledge of random cricketing terminology. And I'm not confident on that at all today. I think you're going to get this no problems whatsoever. But I couldn't think of anything else, so I went with this one.
I'm feeling kind of 60% confident with my one.
It's very specific.
Yeah, I feel like I might just try and overthink it or something. So I'm hoping it works to my advantage.
Excellent. Well, shall we kick off with cricket updates then?
Yes, yeah.
So, well, first off, England are back training. So the England boys are now training again. So this happened at some point last week, I think it was. So and a total of 55 players were called up to by the ECB ahead of the various international matches that are happening this summer. So the vast majority of people would be, people you recognise, your Joe Roots, your Joss Butlers, your Owen Morgan. So it's across all three different teams. But there were a few notable omissions from the squad. I mean, there's a few youngsters in the squad kicking around as well, as you would expect in a 55-man team. But yeah, there was a few that were left out. In particular, two that I want to touch on. One, Liam Plunkett, the Middlesbrough-born guy that was born a couple of days after me, and who still makes me think that I could have had an England career if only I'd had talent or anything like that. But and so he was left out. I mean, he's on the older side of things now. He's obviously about my age. So, but he obviously performed like wonders in the World Cup, or like unsung hero of the World Cup last year. But he's been left out, which a lot of people are saying is particularly harsh. And the other one that hasn't got a place in this 55-man squad is Alex Hales. And there's been a bit of chat on Twitter about whether he's been left out for what reason he's been left out for, really, because he obviously had, as we discussed back in an episode many months ago now, some personal issues and potential drug abuse issues and stuff, and he was dropped just before the World Cup squad. He was named in the World Cup squad and then dropped, and it was all a bit of fiasco. But Owen Morgan has been out in the press saying that he still hasn't earned back the trust of the team, and some people saying that that's fair, other people saying that this is probably more of a personal thing. Apparently there's a bit of beef between Owen Morgan's wife and him, or Hales's wife as well, and it all seems a bit, it seems like a bit of a soap opera, to be honest with you. So I don't know whether that's down to it. But personally, he's made errors and issues and stuff, but if he was good enough, he would, he should be in the team. You look at Ben Stokes and all the stuff that he had, everyone's forgotten about that because he's such a phenomenal player. So I don't think you should be treating one player with, one way and another player in a different way. So, yeah, I don't know.
I agree with that to some extent. And I think when we discussed it earlier in the week, and I think if you look at the comparison between Hales and Stoke and that kind of running with the law, and I think they should be treated, and I think any professional body or team of sport should make sure that they deal with it, equally fairly and as sternly and firm as they see fit. At the same time, I think I don't know all the ins and outs, but if you're saying that Hales has been causing a bit of a stink with the team captain, and they're having a bit of a soap opera with their kind of wives and stuff, there does come a point where that would affect the chemistry of the team. It would put a lot of pressure on the relationship between Owen and Hales, and if Owen is the captain, and the conduct outside of the games and stuff isn't there, then I think it's well within the captain's right, if it's for the benefit of the team, not to play him regardless of how good they are, if it affects the whole team.
Yeah, and that's it, and that's the kind of bit that we don't know, the sort of that behind the scenes bit, and how that has had an impact really, and what kind of stuff's gone on, and it's sort of harks back to that sort of Kevin Peterson issues from years gone by and stuff, doesn't it? So it's an interesting one but it looks as if that's gonna kind of, well, to be honest, it looks as if he's just kind of done, and that's going to be the end of it really. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with it.
Yeah. Interesting stuff, but it's good to see that we're back out training and hopefully looking forward to some kind of cricket. I was excited to get a text message from the local club me and Jonathan play for. Well, I say local, it's in a village in the arse end of nowhere. I don't know where that is, but yeah, saying that they're looking to maybe get some stuff done and prep the field, and maybe have a few games near the end of summer. So fingers crossed we get to play just a little bit of cricket. I'm clinging on for dear life to
yeah, it seems to have shifted a bit in the last few weeks, doesn't it? That it's gone from this is never going to happen to, oh well, maybe in the sort of fairly distant future it might do. So it'll be an interesting one to sort of watch this space and see how things shift and change over the coming months. And I think that's it. It's interesting though.
Definitely.
But the other bit of interesting news that has come out is obviously there's the other bit of news that's come out obviously is that there is going to be some Test cricket played in England in July. So that's just over a month away. In fact, possibly just under a month away. The West Indies are coming over to play 3 Tests now, which is really exciting news. So the ECB are paying for the West Indies team to fly over, and absolute credit to them, the fact that they're willing to travel at this kind of time. There's 3 other players that are going to sit it out, but the vast majority of the team is going to be coming over for 3 Test matches, which is going to be really interesting to see.
And are the players that are sitting out, is this due to kind of health concerns or anything? Or
absolutely, yeah. And that's it. And the West Indies board have been fairly open and said, look, if people aren't wanting to do it, then that's absolutely fine, and they're not going to hold it against them in future. It's just, they understand the concerns and are going to let them do what they need to do.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think you have to respect that decision. I don't think anyone should be frowned upon for that. But I'm just excited to. So they're going to put it on telly?
Well, the highlights are going to be on BBC, which is the first time in a long time that's happened. But I think the actual live matches are still going to be Sky, I presume. Which is,
right. Okay.
Yeah, but it's nice to have highlights back at least. That's something. So yeah, so that's going to move back to BBC, which would be nice.
Oh, they should. I think if like it's like our national support, like sport. I don't understand why, if there's only going to be like a couple of games, that you wouldn't put it on free to air. But
yeah, it's all down to money, isn't it? That's the thing at the end. As it so often does, it comes back to how much money Sky are willing to give people to do these things.
Well, that's fine, but the pubs need to be open then, because the pubs are the only one that have Sky Sport. So if people can't watch it at home, the pubs better be open in time.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but
that's my logic anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but clearly that's just not going to happen, is it? But
no, not really. I've heard rumours that they are going to put they're going to do like an outside table service thing for some establishment, which is
as long as they've got a screen at the back, that'll be fine.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need. Screen outside, some separators, some glass separators, like they did in Holland.
Yeah, absolutely, not a problem. It'll all be good.
All good.
Yeah. So yeah, and then the other news is that there has actually been a game of cricket played in the UK. It's been on Guernsey, down in the Channel Islands, but they played they played a T20 match last Saturday, and yeah, had put it on live on YouTube and raised a whole bunch of money for the NHS, so for charity. So that's really nice to see. So
Yeah,
that's
excellent.
that's good. So yeah, but no county cricket or anything is going to be back until August at the earliest. But it does look as if there's little green shoots of things that might be happening here and there. So that's exciting.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Liking it. It's all sounding positive for the world of cricket and sport and the country in general, which is good. We'll get there.
Yes. Yeah. No. It is. I think it is. It's showing signs of improving. So that's something.
Did you show that? I don't know. I've checked Twitter. Did you share that poem that was said on Twitter? You know, the one about waiting, the cricket
Oh,
one.
I didn't. Oh, there was an ECB video. I will link to it in this one
Yeah,
in this episode. But no, I didn't. But yeah, that was lumping the
maybe.
throat. It was a Stephen
Yeah,
Fry narrated video for just a couple of minutes about how we're waiting for cricket to come back and stuff. But it genuinely was quite moving, considering it was it's about cricket.
it
And
was.
let's be honest, it's not the most important thing in the world at this kind of time. But it was it was beautiful. It really was. So
Yeah.
yeah, I will put a link down to it in the description of this. So yeah, definitely worth taking a couple of minutes and watching that.
Mm. Made me proud to be part of the Barmy Army. I've got to
Yes.
admit, I felt quintessent, like so proud, so British, so stoic. I loved it.
It was
Stephen Fry as well.
It's exactly as Stephen Fry, he's national treasure.
That's it.
Right. Okay. Shall we do this World Test 11? So there was BBC
Yep.
did a poll talking about what they thought the best 11 players were for Test cricket from all around the world, and that's been announced. And for a large part of it, I think it's hard to argue against. Although there's one or two that I think you would probably want in there. So shall we go through it? So their openers, they have David Warner from Australia, which I have to question given how badly he did in the Ashes against Stuart Broad. But Rohit Sharma from India at 2. Then Steve Smith, obviously from Australia at 3. Kane Williamson, New Zealand 4.
Kane Williamson.
Yeah.
Awkward as hell. That sounds like the most awkward pairing. Like,
Oh God, can you imagine having to face those two? And then if you finally get through them, you've got Virat Kohli coming in at 5, and then Ben Stokes at 6. I was like, that's an absolute, it's a thing of nightmares, isn't it?
that's horrible.
Yeah. So after that, it inevitably gets a little bit more Australian. At 7 you got Quinton de Kock from South Africa, and then you got Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc from Australia, Jasprit Bumrah from India, and then Jimmy Anderson in number 11 from England. So just Stokes and Anderson representing England there, but I think that probably seems like a fair representation, don't you?
I think so, but I don't know. There's a lot more. If you're talking about an international 11, I think Jimmy's not done that much in the past couple of years to possibly warrant it on this kind of Test 11.
Who else would you have in?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. There just seems like internationally, like quite a few other bowlers. I can't really think of.
Yeah, Rabada was the one that came closest to knocking him out. So that was a fair shout. Archer was obviously in the conversation.
Yeah.
Other ones that sort of came close. Joe Root was obviously very close, but didn't quite make it ahead of Williamson. So Labuschagne got about 18% of the vote, so he was in there as well. So interesting though.
Yeah,
but
I reckon a steady that first.
I think it's hard to pick a team that would beat that team of current players. So I think in that case they probably got it pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, shall we get on to our regular features then?
So which one first? I've actually got 3 stumps.
You got 3?
I've got some banked, yeah.
Oh, crikey.
But I'm not going to use them all. But I'm just saying.
Right. You've got them ready.
And I'm just thinking about which ones to throw at you because I don't think you'll get any of them.
Oh, interesting. Confidence. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, let's save that for a bit. Let's do 2 can play that game.
Yeah.
So this is your feature. I'm leaving you to go with this one.
Wicked. So 2 can play that game. Obviously, recapping what Jonathan said earlier is where we take a mobile phone app game and we play it for a week, and we come back and we discuss how it went and what we felt about it. And I think what I like, so the game that we're playing is beach cricket. Just trying to open the app now. And I mean, the first couple of games, I think, so we obviously had like that, I forgot what the first one's called, but the really simple tap one, and then the umpires call after the real cricket 19 or whatever it was, which was for me just frustrating as hell. And I think beach cricket for me has hit like the perfect amount of really simple controls with really rewarding gameplay when you kind of bowl a ball. It's really, really simple. It's like if you've ever played like a game, I don't know why I'm using my hands to try and explain this, but it's like a meter and it goes up and down when you're bowling to determine pace. You stop it, and then you've got time in the run up to adjust where the ball kind of is aiming for and being delivered. And it's really simple, like, left, right hand bowlers and in and around the wicket. But I think it hits that perfect, like I can pick it up, I can just kind of play it. And the graphics, I mean, they're like N64, like PS2.
Yeah, they're
just
quite
a bit
fun
underneath.
for a little mobile thing, aren't they? And I think you're right. And I think like just the control of it is very simple. It's literally just a swipe and you're there.
Yeah.
And the timing isn't too ridiculous of it. You can start to get more into it as you do. And for me, there's some amusing bits. Obviously, it's fake team names, but they're quite amusing because it's beach cricket, so they're all like fish puns, which are always quite amusing as well.
Yeah.
And in terms of actual gameplay, I thought it was great. The only bit that's lacking for me is that it's literally you have just got the two teams. You can pick either one and you play a game, and that's it, which is fine. But I'd like a bit of a league or a bit of I don't think it would take much for them to just add a few more teams in and then have a bit of a league situation or something like that, or an online bit that you could do with it, or something, play against your friend or whatever it may be. So, but in terms of actual gameplay, absolutely, definitely knocked out of the park. I just wanted, I want a few added extras, or like I like the career. I'm like that career mode kind of person. And that's what I like, and a bit more to get into stuff. So, but in terms of gameplay, absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that element of, because the gameplay is so simple and fun for me, I think introducing something like a league, even if whether it's online league and you don't actually see the games playing, but you can see how well you're doing up against their AI controlled teams, or even if it was just NPC AI teams being controlled, I think the gameplay is so good that adding that competitive element to it would just benefit the game because it's so easy and fun to play. You can tell it's a relatively simple game, and I don't think the developers will probably have time to listen to our thoughts and comments on it. But for me, I think this is a solid 4.2 out of 5.
4.2. That's very specific. I thought I was going to get 4.5 there, but I'm with you. I thought it was really good. Yeah, one of the best ones we've had so far. It's the only one that we've tested out so far that stayed on my phone, and I do keep going back to.
Yes. No, I kept the umpire one on my phone.
You're just learning about LBWs though, so.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Right, it's your favourite time.
Seamingly Stumped.
Yes.
So, who wants to give theirs first?
I think it's your turn to go first.
Okay. Oh, I've got to pick one now. They're all going to be good.
You're confident on them all, aren't you? I'm not liking that.
I'll go with the funniest sounding one. Okay, so your Seamingly Stumped anime is Pongo.
What? You're now making stuff up, aren't you? I swear you are.
And even to add insult to injury here, because I know you're not going to get it, it's used primarily by UK county players.
Oh, I don't believe you. I don't know what this is. Where do you get these from?
I'm not telling you.
No, that's probably for the best. I'm struggling to even hazard a guess.
I know.
I'm gonna guess that it's a type of player that only looks after their own score and doesn't actually think about the state of the game and is only caring about their own average. That's what I'm thinking. But it's a stab in the dark.
I mean, for a stab in the dark, it's wrong, but it's I kind of it's not too. I mean, I'll tell you. So you're stumped, yeah? That's one.
Yeah, I admit defeat on that one.
So a pongo is reference to a very high volume of run making or a batting assault.
Interesting. I have not. Where does that come from then? No, you've not researched the history of these.
I've not researched the history, no, not at all.
I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah, so it's usually when like you've got a spell of lots of runs going on. They're having a pongo. It sounds more Aussie than it does UK.
It definitely does, yeah.
Yeah, but I liked where you were going with it, like a player that
yeah, I mean it was entirely wrong, but
it's still about the score and the high run making and the batting assault. So there you go.
Oh man, no, you're catching up.
Right, what's my one?
I think this is quite easy. I think you're going to be absolutely fine with this one.
Okay.
So this one for you today is a belter.
Oh, a belter.
Yeah.
Ah, do you know what? I feel like I'm going to say it. And
my hope is that this is so easy that it might actually make you second guess yourself.
I know that's what it is, and I reckon a belter is where a batsman slogs a delivery so much so that it's like out of the park. It's just a belter of a shot, isn't it?
It is not.
Oh, you're going to say it's a delivery, isn't it?
No, it's not that either.
Oh.
So you're entirely wrong.
What?
Yeah. It's the pitch. It's a pitch that's really flat and really helpful for batsmen. There you go. I'm taking the draw. I did not expect to come out of this one with anything. So there you are. I'll take that this week.
Right. Okay.
Oh, you're not happy.
A belter of a pitch.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Oh, I'm taking that and running.
Right, I've got a bonus one then. And if you get this, we can't leave it at a tie. I was so confident. I've got two to pick one.
If this is as random as the last one, then I'm in trouble.
Okay, this one's got a little bit of history for you, and it's not as difficult as the other one, which I'll use next week.
Okay.
So this one is given man.
Given man?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know this either. Oh, this is brutal. Here I was thinking of new stuff, and I really don't.
It's not as bad as not getting belter. To be fair.
That is true, actually. Yeah, at least people have heard of that. It's going to have to be a guess again. And the fact that it's man means it's got to be something to do with a specific type of player. So I would suggest it is a player that goes in and is allowed sort of the freedom to play shots as much as he wants to because of whatever that may be, whether it's just his talent or the state of the game or whatever it is. He is sort of given the opportunity to just go and do what he wants, and that's my guess. But it is, again, it's a total stab in the dark.
That's not too far off, actually.
All right. Do I get half a point?
I'll give you half a point, yeah. We'll take half each. So a given man is a skilled guest player added to a weak team to produce a more even contest. Often borrowed from the opposition, given men were most frequent in the early history of cricket, such as gentlemen versus players, with the goal of making the result less predictable and to encourage betting on the outcome. The term and concept are rarely used today.
Oh, that's good. I like that. That's good. Good bit of history as well there. And yeah, I wasn't a million miles away.
No, you weren't at all, actually.
Yeah, I like it. Good. Nice.
So we settled this stumped with a point and a half each.
Yeah, I think we take that. I think that's fair. given the state of
It's in
play.
the
So yeah,
it's in the spirit of our podcast.
exactly. Neither of us really know anything at all. Oh dear. Whew. I think that's probably us today. I think we've rattled through that little lot at a fair pace.
Yeah,
Good
lots
stuff.
of exciting stuff and lots of things going on. And well, do you want to, before we sign off, do you want to say a little bit about next week's 50th
Well, I
half
think
century?
we've been teasing this for about a month and a half now, at least. So next week is going to be a special episode. You're going to hear from us very briefly at the beginning, and then we're going to go into a whole run of highlights, lowlights, behind the scenes bits that you've never heard before. So there's highs and lows from each of our previous episodes, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff that you never hear, like us talking about what breakfast we had and stuff. So who doesn't want to listen to that?
Yeah, there's also
good.
a menagerie of insults for Joe Denley in there as well.
There might be a compilation of my less than positive things said about he who shall not be named. But yeah, it's actually named quite a lot. So there you go. So that's coming up, and I apologise. It does border on abuse at some point. So
we love you really. We love you really, Joe Denley. Well, Jonathan doesn't. I do.
should reach out if he wants to do an interview for us, really, shouldn't he? And just rebuttal on all the things I've said about him.
That'd be the most awkward interview in the history of
it really would, yeah. Yeah, probably not going to happen, I'll be honest, but there we go. Oh dear, right. Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. If you would like to get in touch with us, we are on Instagram and Twitter at WrongEndPodcast, or you can email us wrongendeadstick@hotmail.com. And we will see you next week for our 50th episode.
Happy days.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Cheers. Bye.
Nailed it.